In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a push for back pay in the amount of a 17.8% raise to Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, spousal, SSI, and VA benefits. I have all the details for you here in the video. Now let's get into it and discuss what's going on. First off, thank you so much for liking and sharing this video with those buttons right down below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support here on the channel. Also, if you haven't done so yet, or if you happen to be new here, first off, welcome and thanks so much for watching. Will you please make sure to subscribe to the channel as well with the subscribe button right down below. Again, thank you so much. I think we all need to stick together right now. It is a very, very weird time. I think the last few years here have been very strange. I think we can all probably agree with that, right? It is not the teens anymore, as in no longer the teens of the 20s, right? 2019 and beyond. The times have changed, and yeah, it's a very strange time, and most fixed income beneficiaries and low income people are really struggling right now. Again, I don't need to tell you that. Just look at your own personal situation. I think we all know the details about that, right? The last handful of years have not been very good for fixed income and the low income. But again, I don't need to sit here and tell you that all day because you know it. We're all living it, right? It's tough times out there. Anyway, let me share with you the details about this. I've been reading about it a little bit lately here, and I want to bring this to your attention because this would actually be very beneficial to the beneficiaries. Now, no promises whatsoever. I want to make that very clear. I don't know what's going to happen here going forward. I think all we have to do is take this day by day, hour by hour to see what actually happens here. But I want to point this out anyway because this is actually something that I agree with, because if we look at the real numbers, if we look at the real situation that has been playing out over the last couple of years here, again, as I just said, low income, fixed income, yeah, it's been a very tough thing here. And if you look at any report, any study, any survey, anything that's going on right now, who is struggling the most? Who is being impacted the most? Who is getting hit the hardest right now because of inflation? Is it the guy down the street making $1 million a year? No. Is it the guy down the street making 150 grand a year? Not as much. Who is it then? It's the low income and fixed income. We see this every single time with all the studies. It's the low income and fixed income that are getting hit the hardest right now because incomes are not moving. Incomes are staying the same, and inflation is just decimating monthly benefits, right? Anyway, you know all this, but let me point out what's going on here, okay? Now get this. How much do you think your monthly benefit checks have gone up just in the last 3 years because of the COLA? I'll tell you, it's way more than a lot of us are actually anticipating. It's 17.8%. If you don't believe me, run the math yourself. If we add up all the numbers from the COLAs just in the last 3 raises we got, 3.2% from this year, 2024, 8.7% from last year, and 5.9% from the previous year, I know it sounds weird, but that actually adds up to 17.8%. I know, it sounds like, what? There's no way it does. Run the math. I've done it, and yes, that's exactly what it adds up to be. Now, this is actually kind of interesting because even though benefits have increased by 17.8%, which honestly, to be real with you, that sounds like a lot. In my honest opinion, that seems like a very nice, healthy raise. However, let's not be tricked here. Let's not be fooled. We know better than this, right? How much have prices gone up on everyday goods and services just in that same amount of time, right? I think we all agree. Is it 17.8%? No, not even close. In fact, depending what kind of reports you look at and which sectors of the economy you look at, food is up over 21%. In general, all inflation is up about 25%. If you look at energy prices, by the way, energy is up 38.4% over the same amount of time. So, depends on what you look at here. We're falling behind anywhere between about, 21% and anywhere between about 4%, right? Depending on which sector you look at, regardless of how you cut it. Everything is up significantly more than the COLA, okay? But this is what I want to point out to you is there's calls out there, there's pushes out there right now to double the COLA raise from the last few years here. Now, I want to be completely real with you. What is the likelihood of something like this actually happening? I'm going to say this much. I mean, maybe in very desperate times, maybe if lawmakers like really get generous for some strange reason here, I don't know the likelihood of something like this actually happening, but I wanted to bring this to your attention anyway, because here's the thing. We need to know what is really going on here. And the fact of the matter is, inflation has been very high, even though they continue to tell us, oh, don't worry, everybody, prices are coming down. We can see it in our monthly, expenditures and things like this. We see it. Consumer pricing is coming down and we're all good to go. We're all financially stable. Yeah, right. Where? Who? Tell me somebody. Give me an example. Give me one example. Show me somebody. Because I haven't seen it yet. Are you? I'm not seeing it in my local area. I'm not seeing it personally. I'm not seeing it here. Are you? Again, maybe I'm the only person that hasn't seen this yet, but I don't think that's the reality. But anyway, the whole point is there's people out there, and again, this continues going. And again, I back this. I 100% back this up, and I 100% agree with this. Beneficiaries should actually be getting more benefits right now based on what has gone on the last few years. They've stiffed us. Let's just say it how it really is, right? The last couple of years here have not been very friendly to the beneficiaries. And that's exactly where this whole back payment push comes in right now of saying, hey, we got to do something for these beneficiaries. They've fallen behind so much. The most vulnerable, people with disabilities, seniors, older adults, people that are living on a fixed income, relying on this monthly benefit. It's like relying on a friend, and then the friend comes forward and just blows you off and does not come through. That is not a good thing. That's basically what Social Security is for beneficiaries, right? It's kind of like your one resource. It's like your friend that you rely on every single month. Hey, friend, you going to send me that check this month? I'm relying on your check. Are you going to come forward for me? Are you going to come through? Are you going to, pull your weight here and do what you got to do for me here? That's kind of what Social Security is like for the beneficiaries, right? It's like the friend you rely on every single month. If that friend does not pull through, then we're in a bad situation, right? So anyway, that's exactly what's being called on here is that the raises over the last 3 years, that's it. The raises over the last 3 years. We're not talking like 30 years of raises here. We're talking 3 years of raises. That's it. An equivalent of 17.8% of back pay, basically just doubling up and saying, hey, you got 17.8% over the last 3 years. Why don't we just double it up here? And then guess what? Maybe beneficiaries would possibly even be at parity if that were to happen, which by the way, 17.8% over the last 3 years. If they were to double this, and again, I would really question that, by the way, if they would actually do something like this. But let's just talk about it really quickly. If they were to do this, okay, so 17.8% over the last 3 years, plus another 17.8%, if I can run some math on this, would be 35.6%. Is that right? 1734, yeah, 30, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to add it up really quickly. 35.6% is what that would actually translate into in basically 3 years' time, right? Now, remember, I just mentioned a minute ago, how much have energy prices gone up over this last 3 years of time? 38.4%. So technically, if we're comparing it to energy, we're still behind. However, when we're comparing it to, say, food and other inflationary items out there, then maybe fine. We're up about 9%, give or take, right? And who knows, maybe something like this even were to include the new raise for 2025. If that's the case, then fine. I guess the spread between, the potential raise of doubling this 17.8% that we've already received, right? We have not received the raise for 2025 yet. That comes in as of January 2025, right? It's still a little while from now, right? But my point is, maybe this whole doubling or maybe this back pay of 17.8%, maybe it actually includes the new raise for 2025. Okay, fine. If it does, then guess what? The spread between the raise and real inflation, again, gets a little bit more narrow then. Okay, fine. We're front running and we're front stacking benefit raises so that going forward in the future, when they continue to stiff us on all this inflation and our raises, maybe we're actually at parity again in maybe like a couple years. Fine, I'm good with that, right? At least we're brought up to where we need to be and where the beneficiaries need to be to get that extra funding that they need to get through their lifestyles right now, right? If you don't believe me on any of these reports out there and what is going on with beneficiaries, just look it up. I mean, look up any survey. I'm reading surveys on this. I'm reading reports on this. I would say 3, 4, 5 of these a week that I'm reading right now, talking about, inflation's going up, prices are rising, who's being impacted the hardest right now? Low income, fixed income, because guess what? The whole definition of fixed income, what's going on with fixed income? Nothing. It's fixed. That's why it's called fixed income, right? So if prices are rising and somebody's income is fixed, is that an equation that works? No. Again, I'm not a mathematician, but I don't need to be a genius or a mathematician to figure this out. That is an equation that does not work, right? A fixed income benefit that stays the same, and then inflation and prices that rise every single month. Okay, it doesn't take long for that to figure out, be like, oh, wait, that doesn't work, right? That is a setup that does not work for the people, right? So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that for now, but you get my point here. Now, obviously, I'm gonna continue watching this, but I'm gonna be real with you. I said this earlier. I'm gonna say it again really quickly. The likelihood of something like this were to actually happening, we can ask for anything we want. We can ask, we can beg, we can have petitions, we can write up letters, we can write up whatever we want to lawmakers. We can write up anything and ask it out of Social Security. Just because we ask for it, just because people push for this, just because people have petitions about different things does not mean it's a guarantee at all, okay? So that's what I just wanted to say earlier. I said that earlier, and I want to say it again really quickly. Just because there are pushes out there, just because there are people suggesting this should be done, does not mean in any way, shape, or form that it's actually going to happen. Get that? What I'm saying here, okay? Just want to make that very clear. So obviously I will continue watching this, just like everything that's going on right now. Weird time. Again, I don't just fill in the blank with whatever. I mean, I think we can all agree with this. We're living through times now that prior to all this whole madness in the last few years here, I don't think we've really gone through this, right? Don't get me wrong. Prior to 2020, yeah, living on a fixed income was tough. Living on a fixed income post or, after 2020 has become a whole new game, right? It is a whole new situation. And yeah, it's the whole situation we're dealing with. So anyway, as always, please subscribe down below. Totally free to do so. Like the video, share the video. Again, buttons right down below. Check out some of the videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library, the ones I've hand selected for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section, and popping up on your screen right now as well. You'll see some videos there. Check out one of those. Otherwise, take your selection. Have a nice day. Take care, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.